How are
Hey,
you?
Valerie. I'm good. Could you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I-
I just got in from doing a antibody test that I'll have to tell you about. So
Oh,
I'm
oh,
like
yeah.
a little late to the tripod game right now.
Now
Um,
you're in Cali, right?
yeah, I am. I'm in LA.
Okay, nice, nice. So, I read your story. I followed you on Instagram. The first things first, everyone's going to ask this question. You travel for a living. Where do
Yeah.
you think you caught this?
Yeah, everybody thinks that I caught this in like some foreign land. The place that I think I could have caught it outside of LA was on a flight to Denver. I was doing a speaking engagement the last
Yeah,
weekend in February,
yeah.
and I got sick about a week later.
Well,
So
they do think it hit California if when they do the kind of logistics of the genetic coding and stuff, they think that LA probably got it earlier or California got it earlier. New York got it in February.
yeah, so I have one friend that's waiting for an antibody test that she thinks she had it in December.
Yeah.
She lost her taste and the whole
Yeah.
thing.
When you got sick, that was like very early in the game. You were about 10 days ahead of me. You got sick around the 8th. I got sick around the 18th, right?
Exactly, yeah. And actually, once I started to put all the puzzle pieces together, I realized it really started on the 7th, the day before.
Yeah.
So mine started with what is now. I seem to be like the leader with the symptoms. I'm
Yeah.
like, I had this symptom, and then all of a sudden, like weeks later, it'll become an official symptom.
Right.
I had this weird wavy feeling running through my
Yeah,
body. Did
I've
you get
heard
this?
about this.
They're
I
calling
did
it
not.
fizzing now. I did not feel like I was fizzing. I felt like I
Yeah.
was like a computer like malfunctioning.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have that. In all honesty, as a physician and as a patient, everyone's asking me questions about symptoms. What's this? What's that? And I just tell everybody, if you don't feel well, you have it until further notice. You know what
Thank
I mean?
you. And that's what everybody's asking me the same thing. And they're like, was yours like this? And to be honest, I would be asking
It
people
doesn't
the same
matter.
exact question
People like, I'm
because you want
sniffling,
to
I have
compare.
allergies. No, you
But at
can't.
the end of the day, you just have to make the assumption, yes, you have it.
Yeah, and truthfully, I was excited to speak to you, not so we could exchange notes and find commonality, but to really verify that we had two totally different experiences. Because I went straight to fever, 12 days in a row, 103.5. I didn't get the breathing issues until the second week. So for the first week, myself, as a physician, as a patient, and my doctor were like, oh, you probably just have another bug because you've been a maniac at work, sleeping 3 hours, 3 hours a night. So,
Exactly.
only now are we trigger happy to just assume everyone has COVID. So I can imagine for you, it was even more intense, right? Until you had like zero white blood count.
Yeah, so that was scary. So what's funny about you saying that, not funny, but interesting, you say you have 103 fever. I
Yeah.
had a fever of 99 degrees for an hour. Normally, in like any other circumstance, I run super high fevers for a
Yeah.
really long time. But for me, it mentally it was harder than it was physically. I know you said had you should you have not have had the equipment and the
Yeah. I would have
oxygen
been in the
and
hospital.
yeah, I almost went to the hospital, but I started realizing my inability to breathe was mental.
Well, that's the problem. And I have this now in post traumatic. I have my little pulse oximeter, and although it's not perfect, it's 96, which is well within the normal range. But I still get short of breath, and I can't tell if it's anxiety because
Hmm.
I still get anxiety over it.
Stress, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or whether it's just residual. I could exercise. I can't exercise like I did 2 months ago, but like I can get on my Peloton. So I think people have to realize they have to give themselves the leeway that like they don't have to fit into a category.
Right,
Number one,
agreed.
they have to protect themselves, being like, if I have a sniffle, if I have a fever, if I have diarrhea, whatever it is, you have to protect yourself and those around you in quarantine.
I agree. I
Did,
agree. And
did, did you get a positive test back? You did, right?
I have so much to fill you in on just from when we've chatted. So
Yeah.
I got a positive test. I took a test on the 13th and I got it back 3 days later. So it was confirmed positive, and that was like a strep test. Did
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
you
yeah.
you obviously had a confirmed positive. Did you have the
I did
nose thing?
not.
Oh, you didn't. Okay.
I was too sick to leave at the time. They were recommending to stay home. I got a test once, like 5 days after I was done with fever. A doctor buddy tested me. I was negative,
Oh, interesting.
which was good.
So I have been very fortunate. I'm probably going to make a video later about this. I have been just lucky across the board when it comes to tests. My doctor happened to have the test in his office. I didn't have to go looking for it. He took a look at me early in the week, and I had lost my taste and smell. He said, "You definitely have a virus." I said, "Do I have coronavirus?" He said, "Your lungs sound great. I'm not worried about it."
Yeah.
Later that week, I came into his office when he opened, like in tears. And and because he had said, "Otherwise I'd test you for it." So I was like, "Oh my God, he has the test."
Was it a rapid test, or how many days did it take?
It was 3.5 days.
Yeah.
Which at the time was pretty quick. And then I took a test just this past Saturday. I had a friend tell me that there was a place that was doing tests. Even if you didn't have symptoms, they were testing people. And I want to go take care of my parents that are older. So at some point, I need to confirm that I'm safe to be around them.
Yeah.
And I drove up and I said, "Hey, I'm confirmed positive like over a month ago. Do you think that or about a month ago, do you think it's possible that I could get a test to confirm I'm negative?" The woman was so great. She said, "You absolutely need to have it." They did this thing that goes up your nose that like goes into your brain, basically.
That's
it's
what
so
I had.
Creepy.
Yeah, I know.
It's not painful, but it's weird.
It's 1 second of being like, what, WTF?
What happened? Like, did you guys just scramble my brain around? And it's not like, and in the city, you can't just get, like, most people don't have a car to get in and do the testing that way. Like other parts of the country, like here in Los Angeles, you just hop in the car and, you know, you're quarantined in your car. You can't remain quarantined in New York very well.
So are you negative? You tested
So I got it back a couple hours ago. It is negative. And I got it back while I was getting the antibody test.
What kind of antibody? Was it the blood antibody test or the finger prick?
The finger prick. Now, I want to get the blood because I had problems with the antibody test already. Oh. So it's IgM, IgG, and control.
Yes.
So the control goes through, and what they do is they come to your car, they prick you, and then they go back, they take it inside, and then they call you with the result. Oh, wow. And I didn't show up for IgG. And as far as I am aware, and you're a doctor, so you can fill me in on some of this, IgG is the one you really need for long-term immunity.
That's true, but it can take weeks to a couple of months to even start creating it. That's the thing. Did you have IgM?
I did have IgM. So for those who are scared or might feel that they do have it, on the flip side, I have underlying health conditions, and I survived.
I'm day 28. You must be day 38.
Yes, something like that. So
how do you feel? Are you 100%?
I'm not. Are you 100? You're not 100%.
No.
But like
people are like, "Oh, you look great." You know what? For me, I'm so lucky to be alive. I feel much better. But I'm a New Yorker. I'm used to like all 8 cylinders running, 110% mojo, exercising every day. And you know what? I'm a little depressed. I have anxiety. I could exercise at 75, 80%, which, you know, to most people is like, wow.
Right.
But I'm not me.
No, I hear you. And I'm a New Yorker too. So I'm like, go. I just happen to be displaced.
So what are you feeling?
So this whole time, you know, the last couple weeks since I've been better-ish, you know, since I stopped having major symptoms, I've been saying my lungs don't feel right. They feel like they're coated in something.
Yes,
and I started
that's
doing
exactly
breathing exercises, and all of a sudden stuff. Did you get the second cough yet? You have a cough.
So I'm coughing.
Now you've got the wet cough, right?
Yeah, I'm coughing.
So I'm assuming, and obviously you'll know more than me, it loves the low part of your lungs. I think it's all the stuff finally making its way up and out.
Yeah. And, you know, my oxygen levels are great. You know, I'm a doctor. While I was sick, I was like every 5 minutes taking my temperature, checking my oxygen. Unfortunately, I was checking it and it was going lower and lower. But now I'm healthy. But in the middle of the night, I'll wake up 5 times and I'll like take my temperature and my oxygen.
I mean, I get paranoid about all of this too.
It's not, you know, when people are like, "Oh, I had vision problems, I had hearing problems, you had smell and taste." It affects your brain, man. It just does. It's not just post-traumatic stress syndrome. I think it affects the brain fog, the things of that nature.
I totally agree. My brain fog is like very stressful. I've tried a couple times to like have a cocktail or
Yeah.
Actually, I went for a walk yesterday with a glass of wine with me, but I was like, it'll help me relax.
Yeah.
And
You know
really what it does is it increases my anxiety a little bit
Yeah.
more. I start to get a little more paranoid. My breathing starts to get a little coughier.
We just have to give it time. We just got to give it time. You know what I do want to talk about before we leave this conversation, because I think we've spoken enough about us. You know, you have a very unique perspective on this because of what you do for a living. You travel. The world is going to be a very different place. And although, and listen, I'm a cosmetic surgeon. Are people ever going to come back and get Botox again? But
I'll be there. I'll be the first one in line for Botox.
I do feel very positive about both industries, that people are going to want to look and feel good. People are going to want to travel. I mean, I was scrolling through your site today. I'm like ready to check out the rest of Indonesia. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm ready. You know, I would love to do all these things. But of course, we are going to go into the world very wary. I was supposed to go to Africa in 6 months. I don't know. Will I go to Africa? I will, but it may not be in 6 months.
Right. I agree.
You know, give me your perspective.
Well, in 6 months, I'd say you have a pretty good shot of going. Right now, I'm telling people not to book travel before October. And it seems to be the further we get into this, the more I'm pushing the date back that I'm telling people. For example, American Airlines, they were going to start skipping plane cleaning on short hauls to be more on time, apparently. So I think things like that will not happen. It'll be quite the opposite. Yeah. I think that because
they're hurting. The airlines are hurting. And, you know, it worries me when airlines start cutting corners. I want my airlines very wealthy.
Agreed. I know. And it's been a good couple of years for them recently. So, you know, to hear them even cutting corners prior is not good. But I think that you will start seeing the new thing that you'll want to have, the new differentiation when you're in an airplane or in a hotel room, is going to be cleanliness. They're going to be advertising how they're clean. They want you to feel comfortable and safe where you're going. So whether that's HEPA filters being installed in hotel rooms and things like that, or what exactly it is, I think you'll see the middle seat empty on airplanes for quite a while.
I was going to say that they got to re-outfit these planes. I remember, I'm 50 years old. I remember when I was a kid, my mom, you know, I used to get dressed up to go on the airplane. There was no taking off shoes. Someone who wasn't traveling with you could take you to the gate.
Right,
you know?
Exactly.
And even coach seats had space, even when I was in high school and 6'1". Right. Now they're probably 25-50% smaller. Are the airlines going to have to re-outfit the interiors of the planes?
I don't think that you'll see anything re-outfitted. For example, the cost of a ticket back then, you could equate to the cost of a first class ticket now in like the dollars.
Oh yeah, it was very expensive to fly.
Right. So if you're going to fly first class, it's essentially like you're flying what you were flying back in the day. So that's kind of how I
first class sucks domestic.
Yeah, and so honestly, coach stinks, but at the end of the day, it's like I think that they're going to block out the middle seats unless you're traveling with another partner. I think that you'll see when flights come back, they'll be half full. They won't be as full as we're used to for quite some time, because the airlines are going to need to lure you back in.
But it's going to change the way we travel. It's going to make it more expensive. It's going to make it more.
You will find deals for a while, and then I think that once travel's back, once we have that vaccine out and people do feel safe, I think you will see the prices be more expensive. Things will skyrocket. But if you're looking for a great deal in the future, now is a great time to book. Airlines are doing amazing deals on you. So if you were to book a flight now for, let's say, October, there's some great deals. I was seeing first class round trip to Paris for $2,000 in a lay flat.
Wow.
So let's say you booked that and then it didn't go. You couldn't go to Paris. The borders are still shut. Whatever the situation is, you didn't feel safe. You will get that credit to the airline to use for a future trip.
That's cool. I ask of you is, please keep us all up to date at Trusted Travel Girl when the world starts going, because we're all going to need guidance on how to travel, what's safe, what to ask for at hotels, what things you should look for in airlines. I think you're going to be such an amazing resource of information for us. So I look forward to reading about all that.
Well, I look forward to watching you keep sharing stories, because this has been I mean, you certainly inspired me, and it's
Oh,
been really
thank
great
you.
to watch your story and just watch you share every detail.
All
I
right.
think that's really helped everybody. So
Well, we're in it together, just apart. So
we
hopefully I'll
are.
meet you one day.
Yep, soon. Hopefully before September.
I know. All right. I'll see you
take
later.
care.
Bye,
Bye,
Valerie.
everyone. Thank you.